All right, it's time to talk about one of the new visual effects in Camtasia 2023, and that is a timeless classic, Vignette. So I've got a few examples just set up on the screen here of different Vignette effects applied. Here you can see sort of a classic, very classic look. In this case here, we've gone the opposite direction with a white tone and sort of playing into the frostiness there, and then back to that classic look. Deliberately chose a horizontal landscape perspective here, and we've got sort of an in-betweener, tweener, and then a square right there. So we'll take a look at how Vignette works and see if we can't duplicate these effects really quickly. All right, so moving on. Here's that footage just without the Vignette effect applied to it. We're going to go ahead and go to the Visual Effects tab, and we're going to grab the Vignette effect, and we're just going to drag it on and apply it. And the first thing to notice is that Vignette always tries to create an oval or circular shape based on the aspect ratio of the footage, right? So I've got a square here, and I get a perfect circle. So we'll look at that with those other pieces of footage and see what that means. All right, so we were trying to duplicate that one look here, and the first thing to take note of is the amount slider here. All right, when you're all the way on the left, you're going to be very dark, and if you move all the way to the right, you're going to get very light. So you got black versus white as far as the vignetting effects, and if you come to 0, you'll get essentially no coloration. The amount also controls the darkness of that, the color, the tone, either direction. So, all right, in this particular case, we were trying to duplicate this. I've got this amount set over here. The other options that we have size. So Vignette is always going to be centered on the particular piece of media here. And so then you can draw this in the size if we really wanted to focus in here, and then you can play with the amount accordingly. You also have some other options like roundness. I'm going to reset the size right there back to normal, and we'll bring the amount down a little bit so we can see this a little bit more clearly, and we'll play around with this roundness slider here. So roundness basically is going to pull this back out, make it less circular, and bring the effect out to the edges of the media that it's applied to here. So there I get sort of that film cell look applied out at the edges, right? So we'll bring that back to right about there. And then feather is the other thing. And feathering, if I bring it all the way out, I'm going to get a hard, crisp line right here. And if I bring it the other direction, it will soften things up. So basically with that first piece of footage here, I think we're just sort of trying to get that tone like this, and maybe we'll bring the roundness back to 0 maybe here. See what that's like. Yeah, all right. That's a pretty close match to what I was going here. Maybe I was a little bit darker on my amount. We'll see. And then let's switch gears. Let's go for that white tonal look here. So I've got this piece of footage here. It's out in the woods. You got the light blown out here in the trees, and that's sort of begging for that white treatment. So again, just grab the vignette effect, drag it onto the footage, pull it over there, and you'll notice the aspect ratio, this is not square. So it's going to try and create an oval where the edges always touch the sides. All right. So aspect ratio affects the shape of the vignette effect that is drawn here. So with this particular one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this guy way over here, the amount slider, way over to the right, really get it frosty. And I think we want some pretty good feathering here too, just sort of really ease in. Maybe we'll back it off just a teeny bit there, and just max this out. And so you get right there, sort of that really sort of classic look there. It's really drawing attention and focus to the subject in the center of the frame here. And then finally here, this is just video. Those other two were images. We're we're just going to kind of prove that vignette works here. So I'll grab the vignette effect. I'll drag it on. Again, notice the aspect ratio impacted the size, the shape of the vignette here. So with this one, again, we'll go with that sort of darker look and maybe feather it out a little bit more. And maybe we'll bring the size in a little bit here, just drawing attention to the subject here. And I'm slightly off center, but you can see that's still forcing the eyes in away from the edges into the center of the image there. So Vignette is very powerful. If you've used tools like Adobe Lightroom, the Vignette Effect controls are going to feel very familiar. Lots of other photo tools have sort of the basic same setup, same adjustments. So this is a very familiar pattern, very flexible, and it allows you to get some really cool effects really easily. Hope you enjoy.